Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for our 15th episode of Hello Nintendo. And it's kind of hard to believe it was just over 6 months ago that we started this podcast, and I think we've really grown in that time, especially if you go back and listen to the first episode to compare to.
Oh God, don't
to
do
where we
that!
are
Don't do
now.
that! Don't listen to the first episode.
Don't listen to any of them. Stop. Hit pause
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah, just yeah. But no, it's I think we've come a long way, since we've started and had a big interview. We've even done our Switch launch and everything, and I think we've been doing quite well. And I'm glad that I've got the hosts with the rest of the mod team that I do, because it's an excellent team, and I don't think we'd be able to do as well as we did if we didn't have Dan, our editor, because he does a phenomenal
thank
job.
you. Oh, hi everybody, by the way.
So I'm your host, Matt, aka Train S, and today with me I've got, as I mentioned earlier, I've got Dan. He's coming back to talk some more Nintendo with us, and returning. Well, I guess I'm the one that's returning because you've been on this a few times. We've got Mo, aka Casterman.
Yo, what's up?
Cast Starman.
That's what I said, Casterman. I just say it fast. As opposed to Casterman, which is somebody you'd think you'd put underneath a chair.
It's the worst superhero ever.
So thanks for joining, guys. It's been a while since I've been on a pod. I was sick for a while there, and then I went camping, and I had time off and vacation, and just relaxing, and it's been nice. You guys seem to have held down the fort pretty good while I've been away.
More or less. There's this weird stain growing in the back of the recording room, but beyond that, it's been pretty all right.
You guys let Brooks in there, didn't you?
Maybe. He kind of lets himself in.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about some Nintendo news, a couple of news items. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch line, and do we think Nintendo is going to continue forward compatibility like what they do with the DS? And we're also going to be picking a topic from the subreddit to discuss. It's silly or stupid playground rumors and the ideas about Nintendo games. So we're going to be digging into our nostalgia bag for that one.
Oh, no.
So to start things off, we're just going to find out what we've all been playing the last, in the last couple weeks or since we last talked. So Dan, let's start with you. What have you been playing in the last little while?
Well, I just got a Switch just a couple of weeks ago. So I've got...
Congratulations.
I've got one of the Neo Geo games, the puzzle one. I can't remember the name of it, with all the fairy princesses and whatnot. I've got Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I already had on Wii U and rebought for the Switch because it's just that good. And Splatoon 2. And I just got Sonic Mania. So
I've been thinking about that.
I'm sitting pretty.
Yeah,
I've
so
been
have I.
doing a lot of gaming. And I just got back into League of Legends. So I'm playing a lot right now.
How's Sonic Mania?
Good as everyone says it is. It's the Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild of 2D Sonic games. In no way is it any way like Breath of the Wild. But it's good.
Yeah, I've seen lots of people have been posting pictures and videos and screenshots and talking about it, and I do kind of like the 2D Sonic.
It's
games.
actually
I've been
it's
debating
actually what I
picking it up.
wish Sonic 3 was. Playing this one, it's like I remember this from 3, I remember that from 3, but it's all kind of in a Sonic 2 style of game, especially with Tails following you around the whole time and whatnot. I don't know. It's awesome. I can't recommend it enough. It's cheap and great.
I may have to pick it up then. I saw a picture of somebody. It was kind of weird. They were playing Sonic with the Super Nintendo controller on a Switch. Like,
Blasphemy.
I don't
Wow.
think anybody in a million years would have ever thought that they'd be playing a brand new 2D Sonic game on a Nintendo system.
Using an old controller.
Yeah, with an old. That's right. Yeah, with an old controller too. It was one of the 8-bit DOE controllers, which if you are looking for, I'm going to shill for a second here. If you're looking for a great wireless controller to add to your controller collection for on the Switch for playing, any of the older games or something that doesn't need analog sticks, 8-bit DOE controllers, hands down, especially the Super NES ones. I love them. I got to pick up one more for when the Super NES Classic drops so I can I can have the
Can I
controllers, but-
just ask about that? And Cast Starman. Ha! See, I did it too. Have you seen any evidence of a pre-order at all for this thing yet in the States? Because we haven't seen anything in Canada.
There have been a few accidental pre-orders going up. I think either Walmart or Best Buy had something going
Yeah, it
up
was
for a
Walmart.
few hours. Yeah, Walmart, and then it got canceled.
Yeah,
But beyond
pissed off
that,
a lot of people.
yeah, beyond that, I think there have been stores that have said that they'll do pre-orders later. Like, I think GameStop said that, but I don't think that these pre-orders are going to be that widespread, or if they show up, they're going to start showing up a month or two before the SNES Classic drops.
Well, then that means they'd be showing up now because the Super NES Classic drops in a month and a half.
Does it
September
really?
29th. Yeah, September 29th.
Oh,
I've
God.
booked. I've even booked the day off work so that I can make sure that I get one. I've got my whole plan set out.
As we are recording right now, I'm paranoid that it's happening right now, and we've already missed it. Like, it could happen at any moment. It could happen the day this podcast goes up on Wednesday. It could happen today. It could happen, and I just want to make sure, like, if I sleep through it,
Well, see, that's
I'm gonna kick myself.
the nice thing about our subreddit subscriber base is the second something like this gets announced, it's going to be all over it. And then all the news websites are going to pick it up because a lot of times stuff ends up getting dropped on Reddit first. So if you haven't seen it on the subreddit, if you haven't seen it on the Nintendo Switch, whatever, any Nintendo themed subreddit or gaming, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
There's probably
Thank you, our Nintendo, for keeping such awesome track of the world of Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a buddy in Australia who's got a pre-order down for me as well. So if I can't get one here, I'm going to get the nice Famicom style SNES Classic, which is the better looking of the two, I think.
Wait,
You
hold
know-
on. Was the Famicom version of the SNES released in Australia?
Yep.
Huh.
I think so. I'm not sure. Actually, you know what? I think
I'm pretty
so.
sure North America is the
Um,
only region that got the North American Super NES.
The gray purple
Yeah.
one.
The one I had that didn't have colored buttons. I was so confused when everything in the promos had colored buttons and mine didn't.
Yeah, like all the even the SNES like logo was the blue, red,
It was
green, yellow.
It was in Super Mario World when you get to the bonus stages, and it's sitting
That's
there at
right.
the top of the screen. I'm like, that looks interesting. I wonder if that's the Super NES logo, but it's not anywhere on my box.
Yeah, that's true. So if I can't get one anywhere, at least I'll get the nice Famicom style one from Australia.
You know what would solve all the issues people have with Nintendo's stock shortages is if they made people like you who are going to get their hands on a Super NES Classic trade in their NES Classic back to the store for other people to buy.
That's not going to happen.
Just like we had to do when we were kids and we had to trade in our console to get the next one.
Well, people
my
still do
brothers
that.
we kept all of our old consoles.
Yeah. You know, something funny that I saw recently at GameStop is that you can get like $200 of credit towards a Nintendo Switch if you trade in an Xbox One. And you can buy an Xbox One off of Craigslist or eBay for like $150 less than that now. So you basically can get a pretty big discount on a Switch by buying an Xbox One first.
But then you have to own an Xbox One.
What's wrong with that? Be careful what you say.
It's true. I love the Xbox people. Actually, big shout out to the Xbox One subreddit podcast. They are awesome, and they've been a huge supporter of us and the project we're doing here. So thank you guys. So what are you playing lately, Cast Starman?
You can just call me Cast or a Moog if you want. You don't have to say the whole thing.
I know, but it's funny to try.
Yeah, well, I've been playing actually a lot of Minecraft recently. Every summer, my friend and I just get in a little Minecraft kick. This is the latest in the summer that it's ever happened, but yeah, I've been playing.
What are you playing it on?
That's been. I'm playing it on my laptop, and otherwise, because he only has it on laptop or as well on PC. Otherwise, I might have been considering buying it on the Switch. I also have Minecraft on the Xbox 360. However, I haven't actually played that version in forever. And then beyond that, I have a cautionary tale for you all on this other game that I played for an hour, I think a week ago, that I haven't touched since. This game, Digimon World Championship. When I was younger, that used to be what I played a lot. That game was so fun for me for some reason. I say that now. For some reason, that was so fun. And then I decided that I think I was 12 or yeah, like 11 or 12. I was like, you know what? I'm too old for these games. I've got an Xbox now. And so I sold all of my DS games, including Digimon World Championship. And over the past few years, I've been trying to reclaim that collection of all the games that I've sold, and I found Digimon World Championship, actually the same day that I realized this whole Xbox One Nintendo Switch trick at GameStop. I turn on my 3DS, plug in the game, and oh my god, the game is awful. I have no clue how I played this game earlier. It is terrible. The IGN review giving it a 4.5 out of 10 was completely valid. It is awful.
Matt, do you have any games like that you loved as a kid, and then you go back and play them, and they're terrible, and you didn't know they were terrible at the time?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I've got a few,
and you know, they're going to be on the NES for sure. I can't think.
There's not a lot of NES games that actually hold up. Actually,
I mean, it all depends on your opinion. Like, I've got a ton of NES games that I quite like, and I will continue to play over.
Yeah.
And I think they're decent, especially for their time and their era. I'm sure if Fro was on here, he'd be arguing against that.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
We're done.
I love Fro. He's awesome. But yeah, no, I just can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I had a lot of games on the original black and white Game Boy that were just awful that I would get because they were the same game as people had on consoles, right? Like I had Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy, and I had I had the Rugrats game, and I've played so many hours of Rugrats on Game Boy, and it's not a good game at all. But I had to figure out how to get past all the bad, and that was what I was into when I was a kid. Is just beating every game I could come across with no regard for whether it was a good game or not.
You know what? I think Metroid, NES Metroid.
Are you saying Metroid 1 is a bad game?
Yeah, it was one of those games that I played as when I was a kid, and I liked it, and then going back and replaying it, and just no.
I mean,
I think NES Metroid is probably one of those games for me, and it's kind of odd coming from me because I'm a huge Metroid fan. Love the Metroid games, so yeah. NES
Super Metroid improved so much on the original that I can understand not being able to go back to it, but of all the NES games that I thought held up, I would have put that one on the list. There's so many bad NES games that are almost unplayable. But Metroid's
I feel like with most
just hard.
With most of these bad games on NES, people just don't remember them. It's been a little while since the NES. And so most of these bad games that you hear people talking about are the ones that are pretty popular, such as Metroid. Or actually, that's pretty much the only big example I can give.
I've heard a lot of people badmouth Mario 2.
Right, yeah, but that never got released in North America.
No, U.S. Mario 2.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I liked Mario 2. In fact, Mario 2, the North American Mario 2 is actually a Mario game I can go back and play over and over again, and I enjoy it. It's kind of odd, but yeah, it's been. I think I got my NES when I was 6, and I just turned 34. So we're coming up
Congratulations.
to 30 years ago. Yeah, oh yeah, thanks. We're coming up to almost 30 years ago that I played some of these NES games. That's kind of why my memory's a little foggy on them. That's my excuse, anyways.
Well, if you want to play a better game in the same engine as Metroid that's on the NES, I'd suggest playing Kid Icarus. That's probably my favorite game of all time right now.
Yeah, it was so hard. I could never really do it. I played maybe like a level, and it was like Ice Climbers too. It was like I was never really good at it. The jumping just wasn't Mario.
Yeah, the jumping is really weird.
This is going to be kind of embarrassing, but I've never played Kid Icarus.
All right, well, that's got to change because Kid Icarus is on many different systems now. It's on the Wii U, it's on the 3DS, not on the Switch yet.
Isn't it on the NES Classic that you own?
Yes, it is.
All right, there you go.
You should go play it.
And
as
if it
soon
didn't
as
come
this
with it,
is
it's because I put it there. So I think, yes, I'm going to be playing it today. I'm going to
good.
play Kid Icarus
Try it out.
today.
It's hard, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's
Kind of like Metroid. You'll probably hate it.
it's not
Probably.
hard to figure out where you're supposed to go. You're either supposed to go up or you're supposed to go right, unless you're in a dungeon and you're trying to beat a boss. That's the only time it gets a little bit more hairy. But and you can clearly see the Metroid influence in these dungeons. Yeah, Kid
That's very
Icarus
true.
is one of those just don't die games. However, actually, no, let me take back what I said. The end of the game does have ending similar to Metroid. I mean, Pit in Kid Icarus doesn't strip down, but you get different things happen depending on what your score and how fast you completed the game in the end of Kid Icarus.
Right on. I always thought Kid Icarus would be not so much a Metroid game, but it would work really well as a roguelike. Like, if you made like a Rogue Legacy style Kid Icarus game, that would be the way to go with that. If you're going to keep it in 2D. I like what they did with Uprising, but it wasn't obviously the same genre.
I've been playing a ton of Splatoon 2. The fact that I can use a Pro Controller now has made me enjoy that game a lot more than it did Splatoon on the Wii U. So I've been playing a lot of that, especially with my custom paint job Pro Controller. I decided I'm going to paint my other one gold. I've found my gold spray paint, and it's going to look really good. I compared it to my gold Wii Pro Controller, and they're almost this. They're going to be almost the same shade. So
Oh, nice.
I'm playing a lot of Splatoon 2. Yeah.
Now you just need a GoldenEye game for the Switch.
Yeah. Where's that?
Oh, Goldeneye. I think you said Gold Nug. I'm like, what the hell's a Gold Nug?
Well, that too.
I think I'm gonna turn
You
up the
could
volume on my
probably
headset.
pay for the development of GoldenEye for the Switch with a nugget of gold.
Yeah, so playing that, and I finished Final Fantasy 15 on my Xbox One.
Wow.
How do you enjoy that?
Played a lot of that. I really enjoyed the game, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I ended up crying at the end. Just the way that it's really, quite well done. And yeah, my wife sat there giggling at me. She's like, "Do you need a tissue? Do you need a hug?" I'm like, yeah. So finished that, and then I started into some of the DLC because there's some DLC. Pretty much once I'm done that, then I'm done. I might play the online multiplayer part that's coming out, but we'll see.
Can I just say,
So-
congratulations on beating a game in 2017. A lot of people don't actually beat games anymore. They just play the first 4 or 5 hours and then buy the next game. And it's awesome that you stuck with it, especially a Final Fantasy game, for the entire length. Great job. I know a lot of people sunk a lot of hours into Breath of the Wild, but I would argue that a lot of those people have been delaying the end of the game and haven't finished it and are just not doing Ganon until they get as many as Korok seeds as they can, things like that. But actually beating a game is rare these days, so
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, I'm actually one of those
Yeah, thanks.
people who have not actually beaten Breath of the Wild yet. All I have to do, or all I have left that I want to do, is beat Calamity Ganon and go through that final castle. I just have not had the motivation to get through it though after going through the trial of, or after trying to get through the trial of the swords. But that is, I think the trial of the swords made me lose interest in Breath of the Wild for now at least.
Because you want to complete that one part so bad that you don't want to do anything else?
Yeah, but since I share my Switch with like my brother and a few other people in my family, I can't get through. It's hard for me to get through the Trial of the Swords in one sitting because it's so long. However, once I stop playing, come back maybe a day or so, I'll have to restart it because someone else will have played the Switch in that time.
Darn.
Yeah, I have one more Divine Beast to do, and I'll probably do a bunch of the side missions, but
What was the last game that you beat, Amog?
I complete a game every so often. I think the last game that I probably... No, I definitely completed games after this, but I beat Sonic Generations back in February, I think. But I beat I played through the Stanley Parable after that. And I know there's a few games in between then. Oh, I beat Ocarina of Time finally a few months ago.
That only took you 20 years?
3D. Yeah, I think Ocarina of Time 3D is the last game that I completed.
I think the last game that I beat was Borderlands 2. And that's going back a while.
Yeah,
Because I've been playing a lot of games that just don't have endings, like League of Legends, Rocket League, But I do play a lot of PC games, and a lot of those games just keep... Like, I play a lot of Civ, so it's not like I can beat a game.
Well,
but
I'd say once you complete a single game of Civ, that's beating Civ.
no.
yeah.
Yeah, because it takes
Then-
so many hours to beat one game of Civ. Or at least if you're trying to go through a backlog, I'd say that's a good... And you're just trying to complete your backlog for that game, I'd say that's good enough. I mean, if you like the game, obviously play more. But I've never beaten a game of Civ, and I have quite a few hours poured into it.
So yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been playing. Well, since the last time I've been on the podcast. So I think I'm gonna hand things over to Dan. He's gonna go over some of Nintendo news that has been announced. Take it away, Dan.
Thank you. I guess there's only really two main news stories right now. One of them is the ongoing Nintendo World Championships. There's been trials and tournaments around to qualify, but it actually takes place October 7th in New York City. So October 7th, Nintendo World Championships 2017. Now, I know everyone's going to say, well, they're not really the World Championships because it's just the U.S.
Hey, the
And
U.S.
I agree with
is
you
the
100%.
world.
Series of baseball.
They didn't even come to Toronto or Vancouver. So, I mean, it's not a world championship, but it's the branding, right? That's what they've been called forever. So there's 8 spots around the U.S. that they're doing qualifier rounds, playing Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, and more details are available on the subreddit. Go to Our Nintendo. There's a lot of people talking about it. The other news topic is that there's some new ARMS updates coming. It looks like there's going to be a clown or a candy clown style character that does some kind of high jump. We don't know who that is yet, but there's also some new arms, nunchuck arms and shield arms that can reflect. So some more new strategies. Like the meta of that game is constantly evolving because it's so new, and as they add, just like they did with Splatoon, the life of that game is gonna be a good year or two at least.
Yeah.
And
which is awesome.
Yeah.
it's great for fighting game fans, and it's great. Like the World Championships will probably have arms
Yeah.
in it.
There's a healthy community over at r/arms on Reddit. If you are kind of interested in arms, you want to go check it out. There's casual and competitive discussion both, so you can get all of that just in one package.
That's awesome.
Nice plug.
There's not much else going on. Nintendo's been pretty silent as they are between directs these days. We're expecting a new direct any moment, and of course, pre-orders for the SNES Classic Mini are also going up at any moment. They said late August was the last we heard. So could be today, could be right now. You should check. If you're listening to this right now, go check. So the last topic we've got for today is from our Nintendo. It's from You Corrupted Alligators post, which we always want to give credit when we get inspired by a post, and we're talking about stupidest ideas you had in Nintendo games or misconceptions and rumors that were around when we were kids, which for me and Matt are in our early 30s were a long time ago. So let's talk about that. What playground rumors do you remember when you were a kid? What stupid stuff did you believe?
When I saw this topic, I had to really kind of think back on it, because I know there was one about seeing Samus naked at the end of Metroid, and there was something about the original, the original Mario, where it was like if you collected all the coins or something, you could get the fireworks. And then later found out there's some other algorithm that gets those to show up.
It's the last digit of your time when you beat the level. What if your time ends with a certain digit? It'll be that many fireworks.
I mean, it's been almost 30 years since I played
right?
Some of these games, so it's kind of hard to remember.
Amog, what about you?
Honestly, in my elementary school, there weren't too many rumors out there or I think most of these rumors were misattributed to the newer games, like catching Mew under a moving truck in the original Pokemon Red and Blue games, or that rumor. That was thrown in for Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Those were the big Pokemon games when I was in elementary school, up until later on when Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were released. And so since the internet was already decently big at that point, not really many big rumors. Nothing could really get past the internet by then.
I remember there being a lot of fake cheat codes going around. Cheat codes that would apparently, yeah, like you're saying, Samus naked or Lara Croft naked was a big one. In fact, that was like my first experience on the internet, was trying to figure out all the video game cheat codes and constantly running into like fake ones that didn't do what they're supposed to do, because obviously like Luigi being in Mario 64, or there being, like you said, the Mewtwo or the Mew under the bus.
Yeah.
There was like Mortal Kombat ones where people said there was characters in there that didn't exist. Like you can unlock Spider-Man in Mortal Kombat and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I feel like Spider-Man would do pretty well in a Mortal Kombat game today.
Well, they kind of did that, but they went DC.
Yeah.
So they've got Superman, like all the Injustice stuff and whatnot.
Oh, there's one that I kind of remember. People saying that you could not beat Zelda 2. It was impossible to finish Zelda 2 and defeat Dark Link.
Oh,
That's
I mean,
weird.
it is pretty
He
hard.
just probably sucked at the game. He was probably just like, I can't beat Dark Link, so no one can beat Dark Link.
Oh, it took me forever to get just clear out the first temple. Oh, I sucked hard at Zelda.
But you didn't
2.
make up the rumor, though. Someone else did.
Yeah, I've never been able to get past that first temple either, but that's just because I don't like the format that the game's in. I don't know if it's necessarily difficult. It's just I don't like the way it transitions between the overworld to 2D side scroller.
I remember another rumor. It was that there was a way to keep Aerith in your party in Final Fantasy VII.
Just use a Phoenix
There's
down.
a way to get her back. Yeah. That was always kind of odd. It's like if you got a party member that KOs in the middle of battle, Phoenix down them, but Sephiroth goes and stabs her through the chest. Well, Phoenix down won't fix that. But yeah, yeah, there's a way to get Aerith back in your party in Final Fantasy VII. Turns out it's a hack. It's not really, so you'd have to. I think you'd use a cheat or whatever, and it was through. I don't know if it was on the PlayStation or the PC version, but uh, it was an illegitimate way to get her back in your party.
I heard a
mean, it's not a
I
Nintendo
heard a
game,
rumor that there was a second Earthbound game, or rather a third Mother game out there, and obviously that's not true because no one in Canada has ever seen anything like that. But I wonder if that'd be cool to make like a Mother 3 and release it in North America. That would be just cool if true, but obviously a rumor.
Well, maybe there might be some credence towards that rumor if you look at Super Smash Brothers Brawl and the newest one for 3DS and Wii U. There's a weird character called Lucas who hasn't ever appeared in the Mother or Earthbound games before, and so is that a
What?
Smash?
His
character?
name's Lucas.
Yeah, his name is Lucas. He's got blonde
Crazy.
hair. He looks like a kid version of Johnny Bravo without the sunglasses.
That sounds exactly like something a kid made up.
Oh, no.
You're crazy.
No, I believe me, it's true.
Well, someday we'll know for sure, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully.
Actually, what rumors are going on right now that people 20 years from now are going to be like, hey, remember when everyone thought that Switch was going to be forward compatible? That you'd be able to play games on your
you mean like the DS going all
Switch
the
2
way
and
back
3?
to the original DS, like DS, then the DS Lite, then the DSi, now the 3DS?
or like being able to transfer your digital games from the Wii to the Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
And Nintendo having a good online system.
Oh, no, that is a rumor if I ever heard one right there. Bringing it back to Earth here with this forward compatibility thing, not 20 years in the future, because of the cartridges, I think that, and because of the way that the Switch is set up, I feel like Nintendo set themselves up to create more Switches that are just a little bit more powerful and with maybe a better screen on the Switch itself, things like that, that will definitely have, that could have forward compatibility or backwards compatibility, I guess, with the older Switch and stuff like that. But we're only a few months into the Switch, so
It is a little early to be talking about it, but I have heard, especially during the development of the Switch, there are rumors going around in interviews, and I know there are a couple things that back that idea up. That one was everyone was going to start working on one operating system at Nintendo, so like the Switch operating system would be the main one going forward. They were just going to update and patch it, and then put it on the new
I've
systems.
heard that, yeah.
And then also, the idea being that because of the way the Switch 2 would be still made by, or the chip would be made by NVIDIA, it'd be like an upgraded Tegra or some new generation chip or whatever, but that they've got a long partnership, right? Like a 15-year partnership, something like that. So it seems like the tablet form is also going to stick around. So it doesn't seem likely that they would just cut off all the Switch 1 games and not let you play them on the Switch 2. I think they probably want to allow you to keep your digital games and carry them forward, but who knows?
Yeah.
They make bad decisions all the time.
So there's that, and as long like if Nintendo keeps with the cartridge form factor, and which makes perfect sense, honestly, because
How much smaller could they get, really, without not being able to put a sticker on it?
well, that's true, but the capacity of the cartridges are equal to and exceeding that of optical storage, and it would just make perfect sense just to keep going with the cartridges. And as long as whatever the successor to the Switch is, if they did like what they did with the 3DS, where a DS cartridge can still fit because it's all the same, they just kind of notched out the corner, or they just kept the same form factor, it makes perfect sense that, everything that works with the Switch carries on. And if they do the same thing controller-wise, like what they did with the Wii and the Wii U, where all those controllers and accessories carries over, it makes perfect sense that the Switch is going to keep its compatibility. Especially if they nuke the, if they drop the 3D, like the DS line, and just go with the Switch as the only portable.
The Switch was a gamble for them, and seeing as it seems to have paid off, the 3DS is probably going to be going by the wayside in a year or
It's going to get third pillared.
There's only 2 pillars right now.
There only ever was. The third pillar was the running gag that like the Game Boy Advance was not going to get replaced by the DS, and then like a year later, of course it was. So I think, after the few games that are coming 2018, like the big last hurrahs, Metroid, obviously. But we know the next Pokemon game's on Switch, and that right there says it all.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. I'd like to thank Amog and Dan for joining me today. It's been a while since we've talked, so it was good to do the episode with you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Always great to be on the podcast.
So be sure to check out our next episode, where in light of Sonic Mania's release, we're going to be asking the question which seems to have resurfaced again, and it seems to have been around since the dawn of video games: is Nintendo doomed? We'll see you next time on Hello Nintendo.